What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk some more about GTA 6. There was a lot that happened as of yesterday, and there's some drama, there's some controversy, there's some news as well, and I want to give you guys my thoughts on all of it, starting with the fact that, oh man, it's going to be quite the wait. I got to be honest, and that maybe encapsulates how I feel about a lot of this stuff, the drama, the controversy. No matter how you side with it, it's like, oh dear God, we got to kind of see this online for the next potentially 2 years. Now that's actually something that people have dug a little into, kind of almost catching themselves up. I feel like a lot of us had already talked about these things. Maybe it's not going to be 2 years, and I'll get to that in a second. First, I want to start with just how well the trailer is doing. I think it's sitting at 89 million views after 23 hours. I do not think it's going to make that all time. I think it has to hit 103 or 106 within 24 hours. So I do think it's going to come a little bit short. It does, though, beat Mr. Beast's video of the biggest non-music related thing. I think it was like a BTS video or something, made it to 100 plus million. So this one, it didn't do that, but it did beat pretty much everything else. And it absolutely stomped on GTA 5. A lot of people making comparisons. I looked at GTA 5 as, okay, how are they framing the trailer versus how they're framing 6? Well, another way to look at it would be that thing, I think, got 95 million, somewhere in that range to this day. You know, and so this trailer is going to beat it probably by the time you guys see this video, or maybe an hour or two later. It will have matched the amount of views GTA 5's trailer got. And obviously GTA 5 has had quite a while. I think it had like 11, 12 years to kind of build up those views. So this one, it's breaking records. It's absolutely massive. And because it's absolutely massive, I like how I'm segueing kind of naturally in this video. Because it's so massive, you are getting people from all walks of life. And now look, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. You're also entitled to not care and to clap back, right, if you see certain things. But everybody can say and think what they want. And honestly, no, I am a firm believer of that. We've talked about that on the channel, my kind of mentality with even you guys. I don't block people. I don't ban people. You say what you're going to say. As long as you're respectful to me, I'll be respectful back. And I try to live by that. I really do. That's trying to be my motto in life. So with that being said, though, we've seen a lot of responses to this game online, and this is where that drama and controversy come in. So look, I think overwhelmingly it's positive, and I think you can tell that from the trailer. Likes to dislikes don't always mean everything, or doesn't always mean everything, you know, but I think in this situation, when you have millions and millions and millions of people liking something versus, you know, maybe a million or so not liking it, obviously that's a pretty big difference. Now, that's not to say that you can't say anything negative, you can't have your concerns. Look, ultimately, maybe we've talked about this, maybe we haven't. The departures from Rockstar do worry me. They don't really worry me with this game. They more or less worry me kind of going down the line because, you know, when you lose like the Dan Housers of the world, right? I think this game had already been established enough, even when he left, that it's going to be fine. You could also argue, well, the game as big as GTA or Red Dead, and with how big Rockstar is, does one person necessarily make the game? And the answer to that is no, but they can have big influence. But again, my point here is I think you can have these kind of discussions. I think they're a little nuanced, and I think they're fun to have. These are the kind of conversations and videos that I like to have, not the other stuff that we're about to talk about. Well, one funny thing that I've seen to do like a funny jab was a Twitter comment actually that said, these are the type of thumbnails that you're going to be seeing for like the next 2 years. And it's to my point that I made a few minutes ago, right? We're going to have to see this drama. We're going to have to see this controversy, all of these different kind of things. We're going to have to see it until GTA 6 comes out, and there's really no hiding from it because it is like the biggest thing out there right now, and I think it's going to stay that way for quite a while. And in fact, it would get more popular the closer you get to the game releasing, right? The faces, right? All the YouTube thumbnails of like the face in the one corner, and then it's like the image and it's pointing to something. Like, you're going to see about 1,000 a day. 1,000 in general is actually not enough. That would be underestimating things. You're going to see the same type of video over and over and over and over. Now, again, can you hide from it? Technically, you can't. Technically, you don't have to click these things. But because GTA is such a transcendent kind of thing, right? It bridges everything. You're going to get people, again, from all walks of life, and it's going to be very hard, I think, to completely separate yourself from all the stuff going on. And again, that leads us to this next part. So you got the Elon Musks of the world having a really weird Twitter conversation about the opening of GTA 5. Just some, again, people that you wouldn't necessarily see in the gaming industry giving nuanced kind of opinions on games. Like, you wouldn't have conversations with these people, at least in gaming, right? And again, like, you can have the opinion you want of Elon or anybody else, right? It literally doesn't matter. But you're having people that are not well versed in this kind of stuff. And the way I look at it would more or less be kind of like double standards. Like, look, if your stance is you don't want to commit violence in video games, and like that's it, that's a hard, that's a hard line you're not going to cross. I mean, I guess I get, well, I don't really get it, but I would respect that. But it's the double standards to me. I really am a guy that kind of picks apart people's double standard, and maybe it's a curse of mine, but no, I mean, like, you have that, but he's a big fan of Cyberpunk, so it's like, well, that doesn't really make much sense. You could also argue, why you playing the game Grand Theft Auto and you're expecting to not break the law? They're also fictional characters. Like, everybody's fictional. Now, again, like, gaming has gotten into hot waters before. There have been games that I think have pushed violence purposely to push violence, and I think they kind of just did that for the drama at the time. There's a game that did it that I always, and my best friend actually knows this, and he'll always try to remind me because I cannot remember the freaking game's name. But there have been games that do that, right? But you're having silly conversations like that where, why are you even playing these games if you have these opinions? But then the one that I want to spend probably the most time here talking about is the character, okay? Now, we knew about this dual protagonist thing for a while, and it was leaked, and we saw her in action like a year ago. Now, that person is probably sadly no longer with us, just like the leaker we got yesterday. By the way, the memes yesterday, top notch. People were on fire with all. I retweeted the Jesse from Breaking Bad one of, the leaker watching his family be executed right in front of him. And it's like, I even am a little worried saying that out loud in a YouTube video, because it's like, yeah, some of it pushes it, okay, but you got to have a sense of humor. I think laughter is a really good medicine. And just some of the things that people were doing, of the explosion at that house that happened yesterday, and it was absolutely massive, right? And people were saying this was the leaker's house, and it's like, it's dangerous to say that you find that funny or that you like it, but there's just something very comical about the entire situation. So I am very happy people leaned into that, because, by the way, that person's a scumbag, a loser, the one who actually did that, and I'm glad that Rockstar took the approach that they did to actually giving the trailer to us versus waiting. I think they made the right call, to be honest with you. But anyway, the main playable character, at least one of them, right? So you have a lot of responses to this, and this is where I think people lack, again, like, the ability to, like, communicate. Here's what I'll say, okay, point blank here, and I'll say, like, openly and honestly. So I do think there are messages and all sorts of kind of weird stuff that sometimes happens, let's say, in Hollywood. I've long been somebody who's called out, like, a lot of the garbage, and really in Hollywood. I should finish my sentence. In Hollywood. And I think there has been, to some degree, an agenda. There's also, I believe, a lack of just quality. There's just a lack of people that know what they're doing, that are good at their craft, that are in Hollywood, okay? But this is where, like, that nuanced conversation kind of, like, falls apart, right? Because I think when people bring up Lucia for GTA 6, a lot of people either are, or they do a very bad job of representing themselves, in which case they then present themselves as being a certain word, let's say, against women, okay? And I don't like YouTube. We'll just leave it there. We won't actually say the word. But in all reality, I do think you get that. Like, some of the comments, some of the tweets are just flat out very, very bad. Now, again, like, I'm not saying there's not a nuanced conversation to have of, like, does it mean she's going to be the greatest character of all time? No, there's more to see here. And at the same time, though, I don't think you need to immediately kind of jump to attacking her. I think the way that it's going, and again, like, the way Rockstar has gone, I know they have had some departures, and you can have a discussion about that. I feel pretty confident in their ability of creating characters and creating storylines. Maybe not necessarily in the future. We'll see how this goes, and we'll see how those losses, the people that left, right, we'll see how that kind of impacts the company. But right now, I'm feeling pretty okay, as to the quality of kind of everything in GTA 6. Now, Now, again, does that mean everything's going to be perfect? No. Does that mean you should be condemned for saying anything negative? No, absolutely not. But I think the way people are coming at it is just a lot of people, at least I've seen, whether it be just the tweets themselves, you're seeing quite a few people tweet that you normally wouldn't see. Again, like talking about GTA, you're seeing these tweets. And then you're also seeing people kind of compile everything. So you're kind of getting these compilations of like all of the bad comments all in one. Now, I don't know how many people and all there is that are doing it, right? But no, ultimately, is she gonna be the greatest character of all time? I don't know. Is she gonna be let's say like a woke, like colossal, failure kind of thing? I don't know. But like the way people are framing it, I really think, at least from what I've seen, they're coming at it a very bad way, because for those that are uninitiated, and I'm even coming at it from, there's a lot of garbage that goes on in gaming, in Hollywood. There just flat out is. And I don't think it's all of it. I think you can see it here and there, and you can kind of see just a basic, and one of the main things I always talk about is just the rebooting kind of nature. So like the Star Warses of the world, and just so many other franchises besides Star Wars that do the whole bait and switch. They bring characters back, they destroy them, like that kind of stuff. And that's just one example, right? But I have actually been kind of vocal on that, okay? Now, I'm up for a difference of opinion. If you like Star Wars, the newer stuff, or you like that stuff, that's fine. I don't care. Like, I truly do not care. Now, the issue with GTA, as I said earlier, and you could say, well, Alex, why do you care? It's not necessarily that I care. It's that this is one of the biggest things of all time. And I'm not afraid of like Rockstar, even the girl who, voices her and portrays her. I'm not worried about like their feelings getting hurt. I am concerned. Maybe it's more selfish reason. We have to live in this world for another year and a half, 2 years before GTA 6 comes out. So we're going to see these hot takes, these just controversial things, and this fighting back and forth. We're going to see this for almost 2 years. And it's like, do I want that on my soul every time I open up freaking Twitter to see this kind of stuff going on? Again, it'll cool off, but it'll pick up eventually. You know what I mean? So that's how I'm looking at it. Like, does it really matter? No. I'm going in freaking excited. I'm very excited for this thing. I'm going to give you guys my honest thoughts on it in a 2 years' time, the way I always do, right? Being honest, and I'm going to say a lot of positives, I'm sure, and maybe I'll say some negatives, okay? And I'm not going to let that stuff impact me. And if you've watched my videos, like, that literally doesn't happen, okay? But on the flip side of things, it's like, well, I do have to live in this world. I have to see this stuff. I have to open up YouTube. I have to see these compilation posts on Twitter. Even though it's people attacking the people that are making themselves seem very, very bad, you're still seeing it. You're still being inundated. Is that a word? I'm not a very good, I'm not an English major in any way. So that's a lot of what I've seen. I think people are just not really approaching it the greatest way. Having a woman right off the bat does not make it like a woke failure. I don't know any other way. It could be bad, but it also could be spectacular. Like you don't really know. And so to just judge it immediately on like the sex of the person is a little off. Again, like, I understand messaging and I understand that kind of stuff, but I really think you're not coming at it the greatest way. And honestly, what has Rockstar done, at least in the single player realm? They've done plenty of terrible stuff with like the multiplayer online and microtransactions and all that stuff. I do not play them for that stuff. Granted, some of that stuff is pretty bad. I'm strictly looking at the story here, the characters, the world, the pushing of boundaries I constantly talk about. And by pushing of boundaries, I mean like what a game is capable of doing, right? The physics, the graphics, the interactivity, entering buildings, and just how people interact generally with you, right? I'm fascinated by that stuff with this game, and I think Rockstar is going to absolutely crush it. And so that is the main drama. There's a lot of other stuff. Those are really the Elon thing, and then people kind of coming out of the woodworks that are maybe, they're life coaches, or they're people that are in the politics, and they kind of throw their hat into the GTA arena. It's not probably wise. Like the people asking to cancel this game, because also you get both sides. You get people saying, well, she's not like attractive enough, but then also like the attractive parts of the trailer, you're having people like petition to get the game banned. And it's like, if you think you're winning anybody over in any of your culture wars by demanding that the biggest game of the century is like literally this will be the biggest game you've seen in the last since gaming existed. I'm telling you that right now. Okay. So if you think what's best for your war that you're fighting is to demand that it's canceled and just taken down, again, like let it play out. Maybe it's not good. I doubt it, but maybe it's not good. Maybe it's fantastic. Let it play out. Why make a petition to cancel it over the sexualization? Also, have you played these games before? Have you seen other things that this gaming franchise has done? I don't understand it. Some people and again, that's maybe not even double standards. That's just like lack of knowledge. Don't come into our arena. And granted, like the people that play GTA, it's tens of millions of people, so not everybody is as like well versed in gaming as others. Okay, that is true, but like don't come into the arena when you're in something else and think you stand a chance, and then like the first couple things you tweet or talk about make no sense, and you got no history to back it up. And if I quizzed you on like the last 5 games you've played, you probably haven't played anything. You're just doing it for clout, right? Don't come in and try to act like that, because you're going to get destroyed. And that's what you're seeing. I think you're seeing people kind of be put in their places as this whole thing unveils itself, let's say, right? On top of that, I guess final thing to say, I mentioned in terms of when the game comes out, well, those are the kind of the 2 news story elements of the last 24 hours. Number 1, no PC, at least at launch. Not surprising. They've done that for a while. Does that make it okay? Not necessarily. To be honest, I kind of thought it was going to come out on PC. Now, again, to be honest, PC is the master race. It is true. It is. I'm sorry. But I also say that as a lifelong PlayStation owner, and I also have Xbox, by the way, but I kind of started on PlayStation. Console is my preferred way. Console is the way I love to do it. If I have a choice between console and PC, I would always pick console, okay? I do think PC is the master race just because of all of the technicalities there, but I do prefer just sit back on my couch, grab the controller, and play it on console, okay? With all that being said, I thought it would come out on PC day one. Maybe I just didn't think that through very hard. It obviously will come out on PC probably a year later. They've done this before. Again, does it make it okay? Not necessarily, but it does follow, past trends. And then the final thing, when the game comes out. So I know a lot of people are thinking fall of 25. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I wouldn't blame you. You could argue, well, what about rumors or speculation that maybe it would come out next fall? And if it came out next fall and they were, say, to delay it into 25, well, now maybe February, March, April of 2025. So maybe spring instead of fall. And I think that actually works, and that actually makes sense. Something that people have gone back into, which actually we've talked about, the kind of financial projections of, Take-Two. They expect to make a lot of money before the end of March of 25. So March 31st, 25, they expect to make an incredible, in that quarter, they expect to make an incredible amount of money. Now, I actually believe that it was moved. They actually expected it kind of in the fall of 24 is when they thought they were going to make the most money they've ever made. Now it's the quarter after. So following the money, you could, speculate's probably the right word, and say, okay, well, GTA is what's going to get them that money, right? So if they expect to make a lot of money, let's say between January and March of 2025, well, how do you do that? Well, you release a game. What game? Well, you don't have that many games that would make you the most money you've ever made, period, except for maybe GTA 6, right? So I think that's possible. Now, like Rockstar has done, and again, following history, they normally announce the window and then they push it, right? This happened actually a few times before. So it would not be surprising if they want it to be like February, March of 25, and then it gets pushed, not a full year, but, a good amount, 6-8 months, and it comes out, I think September was GTA 5, right? Let's say September, October is Red Dead 2, so just somewhere in that range. I think that's probably how it's going to go. They probably want it to be early 25. It might be early 25, and then it moves 6 months at some point, and it becomes fall of 25. So there you go. Hope you guys had some fun with this video. Hopefully I didn't upset that many people. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.